I'm your host of the Most Welcome 23. You're joining me for Veil of Secrets, Chapter 14, The Face of Evil. Sorry, I want to make sure I have this right. You're admitting to breaking into Sterling Manor? That's right. It was our only choice if we wanted that evidence. That's now several crimes you've admitted to. I told you at the beginning, Agent Kim, you're getting complete honesty. That means telling you what I did wrong. If you want to press charges, you can go ahead. You think a jury would be on your side? Once they hear the truth? The full truth? Absolutely. You're referring to the evidence you discovered in Margaret's room, which showed that the Sterlings were drug smugglers and Nikolai was their middleman. Not to mention that Pierce had an affair, got his lover pregnant. Have I got it all? Not even close. As the lighthouse turns, what will Stephanopoulos do this week? Will Sam be well? If you got those references, let me know in the comment section below. You and Flynn stand in Margaret Sterling's bedroom, a pile of evidence of her family's corruption laid out in front of you. And Margaret herself is in the doorway with a shotgun leveled at your head. Margaret. Getting real sick of folks pointing guns at me. Don't worry, dear. This'll be the last time. Please, Miss Sterling, don't do anything you'll regret. Like what? Shooting intruders I caught robbing my home during my son's memorial? There's not a jury in the world that would convict me. But you're talking about murder. Could you live with that on your conscience? You were given every chance to leave, every opportunity to walk away. Her hand trembles a little. She grips the shotgun harder, clenching her jaw. And now, you know too much. I'm sorry, but I can't let you ruin everything I've worked so hard for. You scramble to think of the right thing to say to talk her down. You won't do it. No, literally, look at her and go, you won't do it. You didn't work for any of this. Pierce was a cheating ass. You must have really hated him after all the affairs with Atlantis. And every day since, I'm nothing if not consistent. Is that why you kept your little folder? To take him down? Of course not. I'd have nothing without Pierce. This life, this family, this house, I'd lose all of it. That folder was to keep him in line, to prevent him from making a grave error. Her lips curl in disgust as her eyes flit to the letter from Pierce's lover, like he did with Alondis. It must have hurt to learn that she was pregnant. You can't even imagine. All his talk of legacy, all of his grand aspirations, and still he couldn't keep himself from knocking up his little tart. You should have heard how Pierce went on about his Alanis Acosta, like a love-struck teenager. He said he was going to leave me, going to raise his new child, going to tell her everything. Tell her everything? About the business? All the smuggling, the drugs? Precisely. He was so sure she'd understand, as if any woman besides me could ever understand. You knew then. You knew what he really was. For one moment, Margaret's resolve seems to falter. You have to understand, he wasn't always like that. When I married him, he was an honest man. Ambitious, ruthless, but honest. But everything fell apart in the 80s. Pierce made some bad investments. The port wasn't getting any shipments in. We all hit hard times occasionally. Most of us don't turn into Pablo Escobar. It was never like that. It wasn't some criminal mastermind. He just reached out to some contacts in New York, and they convinced him to open up his ships and his harbor to their trade. So you're saying his contacts were the Russian mob? What a great guy Pierce must have been. They even sent an enforcer of theirs down to supervise. Nikolai. Sweet, simple Nikolai. don't think much could surprise me but his kindness. I never expected that. Yeah, well, Nikolai is another thing your little scheme put an end to. Nikolai's dead. Deputy Doofus put a bullet in his chest. What? What? Margaret staggers back, looking genuinely rattled. Nikolai. He loved you. Yes, madly, desperately. He had more passion in one stubby finger than Pierce does in his whole body. So you're saying you had an affair of your own? No, of course not. Nothing physical ever happened between us. When I learned about Alanis, I thought about sleeping with him, of course, just to hit Pierce. Then Pierce told me about our baby and his plans. I couldn't leave him. Couldn't let him leave. Couldn't let him talk. And Nikolai, well, he'd do anything for me. The truth hits you suddenly like a fist tightening around your heart. And there was this one secretary of Pierce's, what was her name? Alanis? That house fire that killed her was wicked suspicious. Uh-oh. When he found out I lived in Birchport, he started asking about Nikolai, if he was still blowing things up and burning things down. Oh my god, Margaret. Alanis died in the house fire. One that everyone suspected was intentional. Jesus Christ. You told Nikolai to set fire to that woman's house? You burned a pregnant woman alive. All I did was whisper a few words in Nikolai's ear. The burning was all his doing. Okay, now that I'm kind of so shocked by. And Pierce just accepted that? You murdered the love of his life, his unborn child. He had no choice. I knew his secret and he knew mine. We were trapped together. Forever. And Nikolai, the guilt consumed him. It destroyed him. Collateral damage is always such a pity. But don't worry. This time, I'm going to take care of things myself. Margaret's finger tightens on the trigger. Close your eyes. Flynn crouches down, hands instinctively going to his head. When suddenly Naomi appears behind Margaret and smashes a vase over her head. Margaret stumbles backward, the shotgun flying out of her hands and landing several feet away with a thud. Oh! Stay down. Naomi, your timing's incredible. Are you two okay? We are now. Margaret starts crawling towards the gun, but Flynn kicks it away. He holds Margaret in place as Naomi secures her wrists with zip ties. You can't do this. You're not even a police officer anymore. Pierce told Walsh to see to that. Ah! I'm putting you under citizen's arrest, ma'am. Let me go. You're on my property. Oh, and you just threatened these two at gunpoint. Plus, you know, the whole confessing to murder thing. I demand to speak to my lawyer at once. You'll never hear the end of this. Actually, I think we've heard about just enough. Flynn stuffs a wad of tissues into her mouth. Yep, pretty sure we've heard the end of it. Margaret struggles to speak, but you and Flynn ignore her, turning to Naomi. Thanks again, Naomi. But how did you know to come here? I just kept thinking about what Nikolai said in the lighthouse. It felt like a piece was missing, and it felt like that piece had something to do with the Sterlings. Wait, were you planning to break in too? I guess we'll never know. I'll make a criminal out of you yet, Silverhawk. Not if I make an honest man out of you first. Will you two stop flirting? She's mine, Flynn. Back away. The two of you bring Naomi up to speed on everything Margaret revealed. God, it's even worse than I thought. This whole town has been tainted by the Sterling's crimes. What Margaret and Pierce did in the 80s, it's all coming back to haunt them. Yeah, well, it's their kids who are paying for it. The three of you stand in silence a moment. What if I told you I don't think the woman in the fire with the kid died? Think about it. It's tragic in a way. And it would be even more tragic if Kate took the fall for Tanner's murder. We won't let that happen. So, what should we do with her? Can we kill her and call it the third murder? Because I'm really needing someone to die in this chapter. Flynn gestures towards Margaret, glowering at you all from the floor. We can't hand her over to Walsh. He's already involved in everything that Sterling's done. He's as guilty as they are. That piece of... But that doesn't leave us many options. Naomi kneels down and picks up a folder filled with incriminating evidence. Margaret's file proves everything. I'll take this to the state investigator's office. They've never much cared for the way Walsh runs this town. And I'm sure they'll understand why I took this over Walsh's head. Please tell me this means Walsh is finally going down, because I have been wanting that happen my whole entire life. With what we have in this folder, yes, he's going down. Yay! We can end the chapter now. I don't care. Oh, what? Hello, Agent Kim. We meet again in the middle of a chapter. Well, and what happened next? Then we called in the state investigator's office. As soon as they saw the evidence, they assigned one of their top agents to the case. He authorized Naomi to put Margaret Sterling in custody. And Pierce? He disappeared once he heard Margaret was arrested, but we figured the investigators would find him once they arrived. Sounds like everything was all wrapped up. It seemed that way. Judge Winters granted Kate's bail request. Nikolai was dead. The Sterlings and Walsh were exposed, which meant it was time for me to go home. The next day, you lounge around your room at the B&B, waiting to hear from Naomi. You begin browsing flights back to New York. Hey, imagine if we removed Agent Kim and us from doing this whole talk-along. This would actually might be suspenseful. God, am I really going back? I don't know why, but it's kind of hard to imagine. There's a knock at your door. John, here's your final bill. Though I must say I've grown so fond of you. I hate to say goodbye. Would you like to try on this outfit? Oh, Miss Arlena. I feel the same way. I wish I could stay. But, Kate'll be released today. Margaret Sterling's in custody, and... Oh, boy. When skeletons come flying out of closets, they sure scatter bones everywhere, don't they? That's a colorful way to put it. Don't let me keep you. It's your last night in Birchport, isn't it? Yeah, it is. If you don't mind me prying, how are you going to spend it? Or should I say, who are you going to spend it with? Close your eyes, reflecting on everyone you've met. This is your last chance ever. Ever. For an intimate moment with Flynn, Naomi, or Grant. Yoink. I'll spend it with myself. Fapping. Oh, okay then. You know, if you wanted to grab a drink with me... Oh, no, no. I have a bottle of brandy I've been saving for an occasion. I could tell you some wonderful stories from my glory days. Maybe some other time, Miss Harlena. Whatever you say, but if you want to know an alternative use for fishing waders, you know where to find me. What the f*** are fishing waders? You spend the night in your room, packing up and planning for your trip home. Oh, yeah. The next morning, you wake up full of energy. It's the day of Kate's release. You head to Birchport's police station. The minute you walk in, you see her standing in the middle of the room with a huge smile on her face. John. Kate. You take a step closer towards her, but before you can get close enough for a hug, you notice a stern-looking older man in a suit. He clears his throat. Tino Thompson, state investigator. One hell of a mess you've got yourselves into. Tilts his head to the jail cells in the corner. Margaret Sterling sits in one.
I hate all of you.
And a broken-looking Chief Walsh sits in another. John, you need to help me. You're a journalist, right? Oh, you can go yourself. You gotta get my story out there. You gotta clear my name. Tino ignores him. I've had my suspicions about Walsh for some time, but I had no idea how deep his corruption ran. He and the Sterlings, they have a lot to answer for. Please, sir, please. This is all a mistake. Oh, for God's sake, Walsh. Give it up. They have the file. They know everything. Tino's handling the investigation now, John. The county, the state, they're all looking in what happened here. I'm going to have a lot of questions for you later, John, but for now, I'll give you two for a moment. Mind grabbing me a coffee, deputy? Across the station, a quiet Duffy nods and turns to the coffee maker, fumbling with the settings. Of course, sir. Pathetic. The only officer this town has left is the one who can barely tie his own shoes. Tino walks over to help him. As soon as he does, Kate runs over to envelop you in a bear hug. Careful, don't break me. Can't make any promises, John. After all, you saved my life. Kate, I had a lot of help. From your brother, especially. He was never going to stop until you were free. And Naomi? That woman is fearless. Oh, and Grant. That guy's like a one-man Justice League. Don't think you're dodging the credit that easily. I know it wouldn't have happened without you. Can't help but smile at Kate's enthusiasm. So are you free to go? I think so, yeah. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. So much has changed, but I feel like I'm ready to start a new life. Should we celebrate that with a drink? I saw a brunch place on the main that has bottomless mimosas. Actually, about that, there's something I should tell you. She hesitates, clearly nervous. I got a call this morning from the hospital. They got back from the blood work from just after you found me, and... John, I'm pregnant. What? My word! At the other end of the room, there's an explosive clatter as Stuffy drops a coffee cup. Damn it, deputy. You got coffee all over me. You ignore them and focus on Kate. Why is this such a shock? So you didn't know? I had no idea. The last time Tanner and I were together that way was the day before the wedding. It must have happened then. This child, my grandchild. Kate reaches down and touches her stomach. They still need to do a lot of tests to make sure it's healthy and everything, but I'm definitely pregnant. Kate, I'll help you get through this. Whatever you need, whatever you choose, I'll support you. Just then, you falcon punch. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to hell. Oh, okay. Just then, your phone buzzes. It's a text from Grant. Urgent, call now. Do you mind if I... Of course. You call Grant. When he picks up, he sounds frantic. Did you just falcon punch someone? God damn it. Oh, it hurts. John, thank God I caught you. Grant, this isn't the best time. Kate's... I was thinking about what you told me, about how Margaret and Nikolai killed Alanis, and because she was pregnant with Pierce's child. He kept eating at me. I read across the Acosta fire, and when it happened, there was no mention of her being pregnant. So maybe they wanted to protect her privacy. Not this time. I dug up some records for the local hospitals. A week before the Costa fire, a Jane Doe gave birth to a Tuscanal general 3 towns over to a healthy baby boy. Her description matches Atlantis precisely. Grant, I'm still not following why this is so important. Atlantis Acosta has a son, John. Pierce's son. A son none of the Sterlings knew existed. But wouldn't the baby have died in the fire? Thinking about it, if the baby had died in the fire, they'd have found his body, right? Good point, but what are you saying? I kept turning it over in my head. What if Nikolai killed Alanis, but couldn't bring himself to kill the kid? What if he took the baby and lied about it? So I did some more digging. The morning after the Acosta fire, a baby boy was dropped off at Birchport Hospital. He was put in foster system. It sounds like he had a really rough go of it. A couple of reports of abuse and severe bullying. God. Parents that finally adopted the child, the names they gave him were Jennifer and Charles Duffy. Are you f***ing serious right now? Duffy is the mastermind? No. You have got to be kidding me. Okay. I didn't want to believe what everyone else was thinking, that he's some mastermind behind all this. Wow. Am I that naive? Hands trembling, you lower the phone and look across the room. What the fuck? Okay! I am that naive. Dino crumbles to the ground, a bullet hole in his chest. Margaret screams as Kate dives to the floor and scrambles away. Duffy, what the hell's going on? Have you lost your goddamn mind? Oh, Tommy. Tables have really turned, haven't they? Now he looks sinister. Okay, alright. Stumble aside, huddling down next to Kate as Duffy paces towards Walsh's cell. All those years fetching you coffee, soaking up your insults, playing the part of your loyal lapdog. I sucked it up, pretended to be the idiot you thought I was because I knew one day I'd be standing here, ready to take my revenge. Jeff, please, don't do this. We can talk this through. Duffy raises the gun, aiming it directly at Walsh's head. With all due respect, Chief, I'd like to file my notice of resignation. He shoots. Well, I mean, I said where someone was gonna die, so... Walsh's body crumples to the floor. Duffy stares at it. Huh. Not as satisfying as I thought it would be. Turns back to you and Kate. Now then. Try to run. Wow, that would be really friendly. Protect Kate. Scramble forward, pressing your body protectively over Kate. I won't let you hurt her. I don't want to hurt her, but she's left me no choice. Jeff, how? You're the one who... I had to do it, Kate. I had to save you before you became one of them, before the Sterlings corrupted you with their evil. But I see now I was too late. It's already in you. So you have to die. They all have to die. Why? What the hell did our family ever do to you? Duffy spins to face her, eyes burning with hate. You still don't get it, do you? Look at me, Margaret. Look at my face. Look at my eyes. Tell me you don't understand. Oh my God, you're Pierce's son. Got it all in one. I hit the parental jackpot, right? My father was the richest man in town. I should have had a life of luxury, privilege, power. I should have been a tanner. You could never be Tanner. No, I couldn't. I grew up an orphan, a nobody, abused, neglected. in one home after another. I was always the littlest, the weakest, the outcast in every group, bullied, beaten, and worse. But I learned how to survive, how to play dumb, how to fly under the radar, how to suck up to the biggest boys and live in their shadows. And every day I died a little inside. Jeff. And whenever I saw you Sterlings in your beautiful mansion in your fancy cars, I always thought, why couldn't that be me? I wanted that, I deserved that. Why wasn't it mine? Then a month ago, when I was loading Nikolai into the drunk tank, he started blubbering. He told me what he did to my mother, my real mother, and how he saved her little baby boy, how he saved me. But he never told me. At first, I couldn't believe it either, but it made sense. I wasn't destined to be this loser. I was cheated out of my birthright. By you, Margaret. When you killed my mother. Raises his gun and fires into Margaret's stomach. She falls backwards against the cell wall, stunned. No! Sorry, Margaret, the evil stepmother always dies. Even as the life leaves her eyes, Margaret looks at Kate with something close to love. Take care of the baby, my grandchild. Margaret. Duffy breathes in deeply, then strides over, grabbing Kate by the hair. Ah! No, wait. I'm sorry, Kate. I wanted to save you, to take you away before you became a Sterling, before you became contaminated. But now that you're pregnant, it's too late. No, dude, seriously, stop. I did the Falcon Punch. The Sterling line needs to end. All of it. Duffy drags Kate up off the ground, holding up his gun to her head. Now you, John, do what I say or she dies. You're gonna kill her anyway! I swear to God, Duffy, if you hurt her, get in the cell now. He gestures towards an empty cell just past Tino's body. Trembling, you follow his commands. Once you're in the cell, Duffy walks over and slams the bars behind you, still dragging Kate by the hair. The door clicks shut, locking you in. Throw out your phone. Please, no. You do as you're told, watching Duffy's heel smash into the glass, ruining it beyond repair. Kate, you've got to listen to me. We saved you once, we'll save you again. Be brave. Hang on, we'll come for you. No, not this time. It's time for us to go back to where it all started, where the Sterling line began. And there, I'm gonna end it, at last. He jerks Kate by the hair and pulls her out the doors, leaving you alone in the cell, surrounded by bodies. Her screams still echoing in your ears. That's all I'm saying. Alright. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to fucking believe it. I didn't want to 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 believe it. I don't know how many times I gotta say it. I didn't want to believe. Okay. I did not want to believe. Duffy's the mastermind behind all this crap. But by God, Duffy's the mastermind behind all this crap. Wow. Didn't see that one coming. See, right there I suspected. Okay, now right there, before all this happened, I said, and I quote, what if I told you the woman, didn't die in the fire? Because I thought she was pregnant, she survived, she got out with the kid. Okay, I was halfway there. I was halfway. I thought maybe she, the mother, was behind all this. That's what I was thinking. That would have made more sense, in essence. That would have been a really great revenge story, and her son was out doing the hits for her, and there was a two-man team, and that would have made more sense, because this whole time it feels like there's been more than one person involved, which essentially, because of Nikolai and everyone else, technically it was. So, I was half right. I just didn't think it was Duffy. Everyone else kept saying, it's Duffy, it's Duffy, it's Duffy. It's amazing how you people thought it was Duffy, and you were right. So, please point out to me how you thought it was Duffy. Before all this, before today, point out to me how it was Duffy, because I don't get it. Like, I get it. I was halfway there. I was one step away. If you were to reveal it was a mother and then reveal Duffy as the son and he was being her accomplice, alright. But knowing that Duffy has done this all alone as the mastermind, I mean, he's had other people help him, but as the mastermind, I don't get it. Like, I knew, like, did you figure he was the mastermind? Did you assume it? Did you think, okay, well, maybe he's in on it? Maybe he's the killer and he's for hire? You know, let me know, because my mind is blown. I mean, it's not like, oh my god, I'm really shocked, but my mind is blown that Duffy, this really dumb idiot, was the mastermind. It just, no, I don't accept that. I don't accept that. I really don't. I don't. Like, I suspected him as a killer or someone accomplishing, but I never suspected him as the quote-unquote mastermind. I don't accept that. That was very, that's so unoriginal. That's not something you suspect. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of saddened by that. Um, With that being said, I hope y'all did enjoy. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head in our description below. Links to social media, our Discord, and a few links to support me and my content. You can join our Discord. There's over 150 people. You can come chat with us. Don't be shy. Feel free to join. You can share anything, talk about anything. And then also, join us on Twitch. We live stream all the time. And then specifically on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we do choices. So with that being said, I thank you all for tuning in. And thank you all for watching. And let's see. Today is Friday. So I will catch you guys for some live streams later this evening, or I'll be working on some chapters and choices, Diamond Editions, later this weekend. So until then, peace out.